Alright, today we're playing Pokemon Fire Red for the Game Boy Advance, for the Nintendo Switch, on the Nintendo Switch 2. Technology is incredible. So the challenge here is that I'm only allowed to use Pokemon that don't have limbs. So that means no arms, no legs, no wings, no fins, no tentacles, probably none of that. Only Pokemon that do not have appendages. And thus, I currently only have Kakuna and Metapod in my party. Now that I think about it, Metapod does kind of look like it has little arms on the side of it, maybe, but I don't think that's what it is. And yes, we're gonna count it. Generally with these challenges, you wanna start complying with the restriction as soon as you can. So obviously all the starters have arms and legs, so they don't count. But as soon as I got to Viridian Forest, this is the first place where you can get Pokemon that don't have arms or legs, that being Kakuna and Metapod. Now, I did cheat a little bit, because if I was really being compliant with the challenge, I would only get Metapod and Kakuna. Like, I would catch them as Metapod and Kakuna, because you can encounter just Metapod and Kakuna. But I caught them as Caterpie and Weedle, and painstakingly trained them up until they evolved. And the reason I did this is because if you catch them as just a Metapod or Kakuna, they will only know Harden. They cannot learn any other moves. Whereas if you evolve them, they will inherit from the pre-evolution, they'll inherit Poison Sting from Weedle and Tackle from Metapod. Evolving them was also pretty rough, but I only did it against wild Pokemon, so I haven't fought any trainers, with Caterpie or Weedle. So I think we're fine. I think we're good and compliant. And now I'm finally going to actually fight the first trainer. And I want us to level these guys up to 8. I don't actually really remember. I'm sure this guy just has like 2 Caterpies or something like that. I'm pretty sure it's like a level 5 Caterpie and then a level 5 Weedle. But we'll see how it goes. Bugcatcher Rick did not in fact have a level 5 Weedle and Caterpie. He had a level 6 Weedle and Caterpie. It took me 2.5 minutes to defeat him, and then I had to run back to the Pokemon Center to heal. The other 4 bug catchers had similar parties, and it was a long, tedious process to chip away at all of them with just Poison Sting and Tackle. Because Kakuna's Poison Sting was weak against Weedle, I used Metapod against them, but because it took so many tackles to kill just one Weedle, they had way more opportunities to poison me, leading me to stock up on antidotes at one point. It took me almost half an hour to clear Viridian Forest, but I did eventually do it, leading to the final showdown in Pewter City. I was really eager to defeat Brock because that would unlock Route 3, where the first permanent member of our team could be obtained and I could finally ditch Kakuna and Metapod. You probably already guessed that the way to beat Brock is to cheese him with Poison Sting and Harden. At level 12, Geodude doesn't know any Rock-type moves yet, making it very easy to poison him with Kakuna and then set up 6 Hardens. If you don't know, Harden raises your defense by 1 stage, and you can raise your stats up to 6 stages at once, so I had maximum defense going into Onix. Now, Onix does have Rock Tomb, but for some reason he just didn't use it on Kakuna. I think the AI felt bad for me. And so, I was able to easily poison stall Onix and clear the first gym. After that, I excitedly made my way to Route 3 to catch the first permanent member of the team and be free of these 2 jokers, but then we hit a problem. Okay folks, we've got a problem. I thought that you could get Ekans on this route, but I was wrong. This is Route 3, Kanto Route 3, and you can get Ekans on this route in Gold and Silver, and Heart Gold and Soul Silver, but this is Fire Red, and you can't get Ekans on this route in this game. You can in Route 4, but Route 4 is all... Oh my god, I didn't really want to fight this person. Route 4 is after Mount Moon, so you have to go all the way through Mount Moon to get Ekans. So that means I'm stuck with Metapod and Kakuna, and I have to go all the way through Mount Moon, which kinda sucks. It didn't just kind of suck, it really sucked. My goal was to just get to Route 4 as soon as I could, so I tried to avoid as many trainers as possible, and just rush through the cave. But there are 2 unavoidable trainers at the end. that being this Team Rocket grunt, and the super nerd guarding the fossils. With much struggle and cheese, I was able to get past the grunt, but the nerd was just too powerful. Two of his monsters are poison type, meaning that they can't get poisoned themselves, and thus are not susceptible to the poison sting cheese. But they were also too powerful for Metapod to take down with Tackle. The only way to defeat them was to level up Metapod enough to where I didn't just instantly die to them and I could tackle and potion my way through. So that's exactly what I did. I backtracked and fought every trainer I could in order to level up Metapod, which was a very slow and awful process. I cannot describe to you how miserable it was to inch forward with just Metapod Tackle, constantly having to run back to the Pokemon Center to heal up. But eventually I did get to a point where I was able to kill the nerd and move forward. Now, you might think that my nightmare was finally over once I reached Route 4 because I could finally get Ekans, but it wasn't that simple. You see, the available limbless Pokemon in this game are pretty limited, and I really gotta make sure that each monster carries their weight. I couldn't just catch any Ekans, I had to get one with a decent nature and IVs, and also the right ability. Ekans can have either Intimidate or Shed Skin, and you really want Intimidate. Shed Skin only has a 1 in 3 chance of curing a status condition on each turn, whereas Intimidate will lower the attack of the opposing Pokemon 100% of the time. Also, Ekans can't even get poisoned because it is itself a poison type, so it doesn't even get afflicted by all of the status conditions. So, I set out to catch a bunch of Ekans, running away from any which didn't intimidate me. I was also really gunning for a Jolly nature, which increases speed and lowers special attack. See, I really wanted the Ekans to be fast so that I can hit first with Bite, causing the enemy monster to have a chance to flinch. But after several hours of catching Ekans in softer setting when it wasn't what I wanted, I eventually decided to settle for a Hasty nature with decent IVs, which does increase speed but lowers defense. Because it was a snake that I found in the grass, I named it Emily. If you know, you know. Fun fact, if you name a Pokemon Dickinson, the game thinks you're saying a bad word and won't let you save the nickname. That's not how it worked in the original games, which means this is new code added to these ports. Very cool! With Emily, I finally had the first permanent member of the team. I would continue to keep Metapod and Kakuna around, but eventually I planned to ditch them. Now, even though I finally had a real Pokemon on the team, my ordeal was not over, because Ekans' moves suck at first. It only has Poison Sting and Wrap, both of which are base 15 moves, so I had to tediously level it up against the Route 4 monsters until it hit level 13, at which point it got Bite. And let me tell you, Bite was a game changer. First of all, going for a Jolly nature was a total bonehead move on my part, because I forgot that all Dark-type moves are actually special attack in this game. You see, in this game, the physical/special categorization was per type, not per move. So even with a move like Bite, in which the user is very clearly making physical contact, it counts as a special move, because all Dark-type moves are special moves. So I really didn't want a Jolly nature because that would lower the power of Bite. Also, having a defense-lowering nature is mitigated by the Intimidate ability, which lowers the opponent's attack. So really, Hasty was the perfect nature for Ekans. Secondly, Bite just kicks ass in the beginning. You see, the original Red and Green did not have the Dark type, so I feel like the game is not really balanced for it. The only thing that really resists it is fighting. I mean, in this game, Dark is also weak against Dark and Steel, but there are no Dark-type Kanto Pokemon, and the only Steel types are Magnemite and Magneton, so it's a really great offensive type in this game. Finally, up until this point, the only attacks I had access to were Tackle, Poison Sting, and Wrap. All these moves suck. Tackle is the strongest one at a measly base 35 power, and Metapod is not exactly the most effective user of it. But now I had Bite, a base 60 Dark-type special move which also made enemies flinch. I cannot overstate how much of a game changer this was. I went from chipping away at people with Tackle and Poison Sting to absolutely shredding everyone with Bite. Even my rival didn't stand a chance. In very short time, I had cleared Nugget Bridge, evolved Ekans into Arbok, and decimated Misty Starmie. Things were finally looking up for the No Limbs challenge, and I was on my way to Vermilion City as well as the next two members of the team. But to see how that went, you'll just have to watch the next video.